Sijuzi mliona small fish akibreak the law anakujiwa, lakini big fish akibreak the law Nurdin Haji. So this goes out to our fathers, out to boys hawajui their dads, they are our brothers, out to a government that doesn't care after elections, we are now treated as others. This goes out to keep it lit because only a rising smoke that gathers. Out to those people who take less, hadi sasa rising smoke haziwezi gather. Out to a government that talks big lakini ikifika kwa implementation it stammers. Jesus and the 12 disciples walikuwa fishers of men, lakini vile preachers wana insist on kupanda mbegu utadhani walikuwa stammers. Education is the key. So life ni combination ya failure na success. Vitu most zilikosa meaning, squeeze me ujimpress, no ni smile ama na smile kujimpress. Na dream haikuhitaji do kuinvest, mama we made it. You had a dream I was an engineer, now I can make a constructive sentence. Dream ilianzia nax to nai, sasa imefika LD, main motive kujiexpress. Akili sio syllable san, usistress, usidigress, kuwa mdiverse. Wape hata chorus wakidiverse. It's all about the standards wakidai class, you still call the shots, hawezi divert. They accuse you of greatness, you quit a battery, you're guilty as charged, hawezi divert. Now that you have wings to fly, speak plain English. You wanna cheat on success, then kiss me, I'm Irish. Nasema fly, ego fly. Hata makanjo mtaani wanajua no hawking. Hip hop kwa beat ya chakacha na wanadai, Oeba you're still rocking. Tuna pop out design ya popcorn, hata Vatican inajua apart from John Paul, someone else is popping. Someone else is popping na pesa ya kisima waliiba, and that's the damn truth. Sudden death is viewed kama spoiled votes, that's the sad truth. Hakuna food, shelter, matter, clothing, well that's the naked truth. My youth hawana fare kwenda job interview, politician wewe kenye na kusumbua ni mafuta ya ndege, well that's the plain truth. Life ain't easy, that's the hard truth. It's not about sagging, drugs when I create my wasted youth. Inchi machef hawezi afford ile food wana cook. Domoptician wanalipo hawezi atapiga look. Kill sin to see God atotoe tithe aje. Ticket ya heaven ainunuliwe my mook. Itakuwaje cry za tajiri ni intellectual, lakini cry za maskini kwa masikio justice ni kelele. Itakuwaje una believe in me na nikicheza kimimi unashikwa na kiwewe. Itakuwaje unaninyima opportunity ya kupata kazi, lakini tu kwa club ndio unataka nipewe. Itakuwaje nguvu ya thao inafika mali nduri ya mnyonge iwezi fika. Ballot box na DSTV zinafika mali disha iwezi fika. Watoto wanalala njaa juu ulikunywa na pesa ya kula na vizuri, unajua pombe iwezi lika. Uchumi imekuwa mbaya, hakuna Kenya ina move, hata wasusi wasongi. Watu wa piercing tu ndio wanatoboa. Yaani uchumi imekuwa mbaya mpaka ukisaidia rafiki yako pesa yako na poteza rafiki yako na pesa yako. Sauti Sol wamekuwa at the top. Uchumi imekuwa mbaya mpaka Alusa sasa amedecide to go topless. Jesus alibetrayiwa na kiss. Nyinyi wananchi mnajichocha juu Kasongo aliwapea hug. Wajinga nyinyi.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a conversation about Pulse Let's Talk. And this conversation is a very timely conversation ahead of the protests that are happening tomorrow, June 25th, 2025. As the title of as a topic, the title you have just clicked on, as it suggests, we're talking about youth quake in Kenya, I beg your pardon. State of the Nation 1 year after June 25th, 2024. And to help us with this conversation, we are joined by 3 activists. Let us just get to know them before we continue with the conversation. I think we can start with Willie already. Willie already, yes.
My name is Willie Oeba. I'm a spoken word artist. I'm a proud Nax vegan. I do poetry for social change and a bit to inspire a generation of activists and artists who will use poetry for social change, and also to mainstream the use of words for social change. Yeah.
Karibu sana Willie Oeba. Then let's go to the lady on set.
My name is Shakira Wafula. I'm a fitness instructor, exercise and sports scientist. I'm also a mother, a bike enthusiast, and an active citizen of Kenya.
Karibu sana Shakira. And then last but not least.
Yeah, I mean, activist is a heavy word. It's a heavy word. My name is Obra. I am a filmmaker, so film director and DP or cinematographer. Yeah, just same as Shakira, an active citizen, which I think we've turned into active citizens for all of us. Yeah, happy to be here.
Umeka act hapo. actor.
Budget, nini, spendisha budget, sir. Part-time actor.
Part-time actor. Okay. Thank you very much, lady and gents, for joining us for this conversation. Very crucial conversation. And as we had started before we had a technical hitch, we were talking about our backgrounds and what led us to this path of activism. I think we could start with you, Brian. You're a photographer, as you have already told us, but now you also exercise your active citizenship, which is talking about the social issues that is happening in the country. But talk to us about your background and what brought you here.
Oh, that's a rangeful question. So for me, my background has been very heavy on arts. I'll say arts. So from anything visual, I used to be a DJ before I entered into film. So I think my background is very heavy laden with arts, sports here and there, and stuff like that. For me to get to a point where I'm actively speaking out about the constitution, the government, I'm actively engaged in civic responsibility, talking about what is this new clause that is being introduced. I think for me that shift came last year, June 2024. I think with the entire finance bill and everything, I represent a part of the country that I would say some of us were very much keyboard warriors, where we talk out on Twitter, on Facebook and all, but being actively engaged, whether it's in the streets, attending some of these public participation processes, I don't think I was as engaged before the finance bill situation. Yeah.
That's interesting. How about you, Shakira? Is it something that protesting and active citizenship, is it something that started just yesterday, or is it something that you had been doing all your life?
I feel like from who I am in essence as a person, I haven't been one to keep quiet if I have the opportunity to stand up and speak out against any form of injustice. And I've always engaged with the space, but never beyond what I could do from my phone. So signing petitions, engaging with hashtags. I used to attend events that Power 254 used to host, and that's the most that I could do.
That's the farthest you had ever done.
The farthest that I had gone. And then 2023, I saw Mercy Tarus standing up in a town hall, speaking up, questioning about this money that they had invested, which was meant for their education, but they were conned out of it. And I was impressed by the kind of guts that
the courage and
the bravery that was portrayed by that moment. And that moment stuck with me, and I kept telling myself that I need to show up better for my country, because we can't keep on being the type of people who just complain within our small communities and spaces and don't actively do something about it. Come 2024, there was the End Femicide KE march, and I really wanted to be in that march, but I also had this fear in me that I've never been out on the streets protesting and something might happen. So I tried to grasp around me for an excuse, and I had exams around that period. I was like, I can't go because I have exams.
Yeah.
And now came June for the protests. I was out of school. It was a Tuesday. Tuesday is usually a slow day for me at the gym. I didn't, I tried to look for an excuse why I can't be out on the streets, and I didn't find one. And I was like, you know what, Shakira, today is the day you finally step on the streets and, put actions into words. And I did. And unfortunately that day I did not even stay out for more than 1 hour. I think 30 minutes into it, I was walking at some point after being dispersed by the police, and kidogo, my legs are not touching the ground. The next thing, I've been shoved into a vehicle and I'm being transported to Central Police. And I think for me, that's when I decided I cannot be sitting back anymore, and here I am today.
Here you are today. Okay. How about you, Willie? Let's understand the background that you had before today.
Yeah, so I'm from Nakuru, proud Naxvegan all day, and I started spoken word in 2004, but I was introduced to poetry and by a teacher, like the ones that we do, who is the persona, but under class 10, 12J. So music festival, so that opened me up to expression and public speaking. But I started professionally, I started doing spoken word in campus in 2014, and in 2017 I was almost shot for mistaken identity, and that is when I started doing poetry for social change. Yeah.
Okay, so I think also, let me just also give my own perspective. Just like you, I was also watu wa keyboard warriors, watu wa hawajafanya poa na ni hivyo. Came now June 25th, and now it was either you come out, you express how you feel, and for me it was a very big pull, because now when I was seeing the clauses that were being put in the finance bill, nikasema hapana, hata mimi lazima nitoke, I had to stand out to be counted, yeah. And so I think, let me just put your minds in the space of June 25th last year, 2024, sorry, and the presence of all that adrenaline, all that energy, the people who came to the ground that day. Allow me to just put your mind in that space. June 25th, 2024. Let me ask you, Brian, ulikuwa wapi June 25th, 2024?
June 25th, 2024. If my steps up was on Yosiku, I think they'd have called to ask, hey, my guy, are you okay? Is it? That's too many steps. I was where the voices were. I'll put it as I was where the voices were. I was in town, I was in CBD, I was where the protesters were, I was where the policemen were, I was where the bodies were, I was where the injuries were, I was where the destruction was, right? So June 25th for me was, if someone asked me where I was, I'd just say I was there.
Ulikuwa kwa ground?
Yes, yes.
How about you, Shakira? What led you to coming out to June 25th, 2024?
June 25th was a big day, I feel like, for everyone, and it's important for us to cement it as a key date within the history of our country. Personally, I remember that day very well, because by the time we went home the previous week on Thursday, and hearing news of Rex Masai having been shot, and then the kind of response that we got from the political class. I believe the next day we got news of Eric Sheni as well having lost his life, and seeing the level of impunity and the lack of remorse that the politicians were responding with, I decided that we need to make June 25th impactful. I'm a biker, so I reached out to the biking community and I told them, you know what, 25th, we are showing up, we are turning up, and we need to be counted as a group of people who are involved in whatever is going to happen on 25th. It was supposed to be the last reading of the finance bill. So we organized for an outride. We were starting somewhere along Thika Road. And I remember very well, like, we were supposed to start at 10 a.m., the ride into CBD. And we were very naive at that time. We were sharing things, what we are planning online, thinking, oh, it's within our civil rights to protest. The next thing, we are getting information that there's a big truck, a military vehicle that is coming to carry all our bikes, and it was like, helter-skelter, we need to, rush from the meeting point. But we did manage to do an outride all the way along Thika Road. We were hooting, and we had reject finance bill as stickers on our plate. plates, and we had our flags, whistles, all that. We created like proper chaos along Thika Road. Unfortunately, by the time we were entering CBD, we entered through Uhuru Highway, the GPO roundabout. We were met by a gang of police officers, and they started shooting tear gas at us. And I think at that point we decided it was no longer safe to be on our bikes. We found a way to individually escape that point, and we found a parking along Moi Avenue, and we left our bikes there. And we joined everyone else walking on the streets. And I remembered I walked all the way to the last roundabout at Parliament, and I saw when people were shaking down the fence and going into Parliament. And that was just after we had been told that 3 or 4 people had already been shot, and the people were still willing to continue. And then when I was just about to cross the road and go into the Parliament compound, I received a call from my mother. And usually we are not the type of people who call each other a lot. We usually text. So I answered the call, and she was like, the military has been let out, and they've been told to come and make sure they are controlling whatever is happening. I was like, this is my cue to try and find my way home. And unfortunately, I didn't manage to leave CBD that day. I actually spent the night in a stranger's house in CBD, but it was actually safer for me than to be out on the streets trying to find my way back home. And I remember we were seated, a bunch of people who we had just met on the streets, listening to the speech of William Ruto calling us treasonous criminals. And there was this rage within me, like, you've literally killed a bunch of us and you're calling us treasonous criminals. We did not have any weapons. We just had a bottle of waters and masks and flags and nothing else. But, I feel like seeing how Ruto responded with his speech, it's just confirmed to me that this is not a person who's willing to actually do what is expected of him as a leader of this country. And I feel like June 25th, I hope to live long. Personally, I intend to die after I'm 80. And I hope to torment my grandchildren with stories of June 25th. June 25th.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen who are watching us from Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, make sure you also comment, talk to us about your feelings. What were you doing on June 25th? Tuambie pale kwa comment section. We will be reading out the comments as we continue with the conversation. Now we are at Willie Oeba.
Yeah. Please
talk to us about why is June 25th important, both last year and both tomorrow.
I mean, June 25th is a tipping point because we've had these problems for the longest time. Youth bulge, unemployment, failed promises, extrajudicial killing, police brutality. But in 2024, it made so much sense because I have been amplifying for quite some time now. I started in 2017. I did Dear Mr. President in 2020, Dear Mr. Deputy President. Ruto was a deputy president then. And even like close allies, some of them cancelled me for that piece. They told me, you like being controversial, you like chasing clout. And they told me, let art be art, don't politicize art, because the youth, the young people have been depoliticized and made to believe that politics and governance is a reserve for a select few. So June 25th, I was in Nakuru, State House Nakuru. I was with Brian Silwes, and shout out to Nakuru comrades, because the history of Nakuru is very complacent to the politics of the day. Every regime, like the Uhuru Ruto regime, was formed in Nakuru. So Nakuru is very complacent, and they conform to the ideologies and policies of the government of the day. So having hundreds of thousands of people in the streets of Nakuru was iconic. And in Nakuru, we went till the State House, and they shot so many people at State House Nakuru. So June 25th, I was in Nakuru, and it brought me me so much joy, because finally the young people understood that we will only have a new generation of leaders when we have the revolution of the mindset. Even though June 25th we did not have the revolution of by the bullet, but the mindset was revolutionized. So we are marking 1 year. But to be fair, literally we are standing on the shoulders of giants, because we've had so many people that came before us. But God ordained that moment that we would be there, June 25th, and they would use the Gen Z tag. Initially, they were trying to use that to make it unserious. We're going to protest with Ubers and iPhone and KFC and what have you.
I remember that point.
But we accepted every tag that came our way, and we had to be there. So June 25th is when all the advocacy, it's when all of it made sense. Yeah.
Okay, so looking back, a lot happened on that particular day. There's a lot of propaganda, propaganda being shared online, and pia ukiwa kwa ground ulikuwa unaambiwa hey kumefanyika hivi. Another something that really also occurred that day was a lot of arrests, and a lot of people were shot. Talk to us. Let's talk about police brutality. When you see activists and reporters, protesters being shot on ground, how does that make you feel?
Ridiculous. Well, it looks very ridiculous to me, right? What did I do to you to deserve a bullet on my chest, on my head, at the back of my head? What's worth my life, right? I'm here, and the irony of it, for example, last week when they shot the mask seller at close range, right? We're talking about people are in the streets to protest about police brutality, someone who died while in the police cells because they posted something about the police. So people go to the streets to protest about the police, and the police shoot someone protesting about the police. So that's if this was a PR firm, that would be a nightmare. Like, where is the logic? Where is the logic? What did that person do to deserve that, right? So for me, police brutality it just comes off as a huge disconnect, a huge gap between a force that either does not understand the rights of its citizens or consistently chooses to disregard that constitution. To me, it shows a gap between someone who's supposed to be of service to the people and someone who's just no longer human. It's as if when they go to the academies, it's as if something is instilled deep in them. Raia si mtu at all. Raia kanyaga shingo. Raia si mtu. So from where I sit, from a very naive point, it just doesn't make sense to me. Why? If I'm looking to protest, what's so difficult about giving us the security for me to come and express myself and say, listen, this and this is not going well. This is my message to Parliament. This is my message to Senate. At what point am I a danger or a risk to your life or to your health for you to justify what you want to do with my life and my sanity and my humanity? So it's a huge disconnect for me.
Yeah. Let's come to you, Shakira. We saw a viral clip last year of you face-to-face, head-on with the police. Talk to us about your experience in the hands of police.
My first, like I had mentioned earlier, my first time protesting on the streets, I wasn't even there for more than an hour because I was hijacked, for lack of a better word, by 4 men. First of all, as a woman and as a Muslim woman, I'm not supposed to be touched by a man without my consent. And even within the laws of Kenya, only a woman should be physically arresting a woman. But I was lifted off the ground and, held onto tightly by 4 men and was put into a vehicle. Nobody spoke to me. While I was in the vehicle, I was asking, why have you taken me? Where are you taking me? And I was, trying to push my way out of that situation. And they took me to Central Police and they literally lifted me and threw me into the police cells, because I was not willing to collaborate and move. I did not understand why exactly they were taking me and what wrong I had done.
At that point, were you scared for your life?
I was, but that instinct for fighting for your survival, because I had we had seen online of people being abducted, but you only see free so and so. What they actually experience, you don't know until you are in such a situation. And I feel like I was lucky, because for them they decided to take me off the streets into the police cell, and there were so many young people who were arrested that day, and actually it helped to radicalize me, because while we were in the cells, we were having these conversations, digging more into the finance bill, everyone expressing why they felt that they needed to be out on the streets on that day. And then at some point we would hear tear gas being launched at lawyers who had apparently were coming to try and negotiate for our release, and then that camaraderie of singing together these revolutionary songs, and it just cemented my will to participate. And by the time I decided to come out on Thursday, I said, if I'm in a situation where I'm face to face with the police, I will try and give them a piece of my mind. I will not just let them attack me like that. And it just so happens that at that specific time, there's so many people recording, including Larry Mado, which I did not even realize he was recording until when he posted it much later. And at first I tried to, because when he posted it on X, he was like asking, do you know who this is? And then my sister was so excited, she tagged me. I was like, no, please remove my name from there. But unfortunately the wheels had already been turned, and whatever was set in motion was already moving, and I couldn't run away from it anymore, and I decided to embrace it and use it as a platform, to amplify whatever issues that we are calling for. And for me, police is si rafiki, and the police as it is right now, they can't, as an institution, they can't be reformed. We saw it used to be Kenya Police Force, and then they tried to reform it, and the most we have seen is the change of name to National Police Service. But
and uniforms.
And the uniform colors, they've changed that as well. But beyond that, there isn't much that has been done, or if there's something that has been done, we can't see the results of it, because there's still a lot of people being abducted, there's still a lot of extrajudicial killings, and we still face brutality from the police. When we are out there protesting, usually it's peaceful until the police show up with the force and launching tear gas canisters at us. The past 2 weeks since Albert died, we have been calling for end police brutality, but IPOA has already revealed that 24 people have been killed since after Albert Ojwang. We are busy shouting justice, we are busy shouting end police brutality, but the same police are still killing, and this is at a time when a lot of eyes are on them, so that people can understand what exactly happens in that institution. So if practically one person loses their lives at the hand of the police every day, I mean, what are we? Why is the institution still allowed to run in the same manner it is running? So I am yet to meet a good police officer, and I am saying that with total conviction. Even wale wanajifanyanga ti wazuri, they are trying to help us, they are trying to talk to us nicely, they are trying to negotiate. None of them are actually good people.
So I think, let me ask Willie, so in light of what happened last year, June 18th, and now we are having protests tomorrow. Are you confident that the police will protect us, protect the protesters? And how are your general feelings about tomorrow and in terms of police brutality? Are you expecting any violence? Are you expecting any chaos?
Well, I mean, the police is a state machinery. The police is there to protect the interest of the state. And the state, this is the president, the cronies, the parastatals, the MPs. The police protect the interest of the people that we've delegated the power to. And anytime the injustice is meted on the politicians and they want to cry on our shoulders, they say the people is the government. Every time we go to the elections, they say the people are the government. But 2 years down the line, when we can no longer impeach MPs or the wheels have been set in motion, now they now became the government. So as a young man, relatively young, from Nakuru, I have always been a police target with dreadlocks, baby locks, and you will get arrested for anything. You'll get arrested coming outside the supermarket, you'll get arrested going to board a matatu, they'll pick you from there. And that is not the reality in Nairobi. I was so shocked the first times I came to Nairobi, and I used in CBD in 2017, even in 2015, I used to pass by police like the first time I came to Nairobi as an adult. Don't get it twisted. So I used to when I was conscious about police and police brutality, pass by police officers, and they didn't ask me anything even at night. So I was never arrested in Nairobi, except for one time we were arrested together last year in October at 11 p.m. East African time. So we were paying homage to Dedan Kimathi's statue and we got arrested. Wow. So, but in Nakuru, it's crazy. They arrest you for anything. Also, I've been beaten by policemen in CBD town, 2019. I argue with them. They tell me they put bang inside my bag because I have dreadlocks, stereotype. I have always had a very negative energy with police officers. And my friend Brian Silius has been beaten a couple of times by policemen even recently. So I don't expect anything good to come from police officers because one, they don't operate by their own brains. They are given orders, and the people who rule cannot think critically. So the orders they get, the orders from above, the people who delegated the powers to give orders do not think critically. But the good thing is we have protesters tomorrow who will come through in large numbers, and the police will not match the energy of Kenyans who just are peaceful. Even the gangs could not. So on Thursday, I was out in the streets, and police literally, it's either also the police are tired with the way things are moving on in this country, or they were just overpowered because the goons were chased away, and the police were just complacent. They were just there, and it was very unlikely for me. I've never seen police in that state. Only in the evening they started beating people. They started beating the same goons they were protecting in the morning, because it was very ideal and convenient for the goons to now start robbing shops. Very easy money. But that is to tell anyone, any leader who will be like bring goons tomorrow, that the magnitudes will be insane. So it's better off if the police cooperate with the people. If the police learn crowd management, I mean, what is power? You can talk to me in a certain way, and I will understand I have to move. I will understand I have to use this lane. We don't have to close shops when people are demonstrating. I mean, the police should guard shops. They should guard properties and leave peaceful protesters to protest peacefully. Yeah.
Speaking of power, do you think the political class understands the power of the youth?
Understands? Yes, they do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be fighting so hard to try and stifle our efforts towards ensuring that we have a better country. I feel like they know, and they have everything to lose. and that's why we see them speaking the way they speak when they whatever chance they have, when they are given a microphone, even in their social media posts. That's why they are even trying to, put limitations with how people interact on social media. So they know, and what they have to lose is what is making them so adamant in trying to counter whatever efforts we are putting up.
Unfortunately, hata sikuuliza venye mnafilaje? As Kenyans, mnafilaje? Mnafeel mambo ni mingi. Everywhere I look, there's somebody said, somebody did, there's propaganda here, there's what. How do you feel, Obra?
How do I feel?
How do you feel as a Kenyan generally? How do you feel?
Oh, pissed off, mad. I think, not even I think, I believe there's so much bitterness going around right now. There's so much bitterness in the sense of, am I the only one who's seeing this? Am I the only one who's thinking this? Because there's no way someone in government cannot see what I'm seeing, right? So this is just a blatant defiance of everything I'm feeling and everything I'm expressing. So the bitterness is springing from, we should not be here, and we had the chance to not be here in the first place. If we had, and to me that was the downfall. When William Ruto came into power, I did not vote for him, but the first thing I said, listen, it's been decided, this was the constitutional mandate, it's been decided, I'm making peace with it, I'm giving this person a chance to see what they can offer. Maybe I've been tied into political, what are they called, the royalties and all of that. So maybe actually it's a chance for this country to move forward with someone, right? The minute I saw the first cabinet announced, I knew, shucks, yeah, same old. Because what I saw was gifting. What I saw was sort of rewarding my peoples. And to me, from that point, I think that's when I completely lost whatever faith I had in moving forward. And it's crazy to see whatever feelings I had then are being justified right now, because that seat that this person holds is such a supreme seat. With everything that going on towards, for example, the extrajudicial killings, that seat, if it had someone who would come in and crack the whip, like this is an executive decision, I need who did this, I need who did this now, not tomorrow, not the day after, I need the names on my desk right now, he would have those names by noon, right? So it's one of two things. The failure is, do you not care about this, or do you not have the power? And if you don't have the power, then we need someone who actually has the power to do that.
Yeah.
So my feelings are based on frustrations and just bitterness. Yeah.
Shakira, how do you feel?
It's an exhausting time to be a Kenyan, but I don't think I've ever felt so in love with my country folks as I have been the past year, because even despite all odds, we still have a majority of us who are willing to defy whatever circumstances that have been set against us and stand up and say we deserve better, and we are going to do our best to make sure that we actually get what we deserve. So I actually in the recent past, I've been traveling around the country doing civic engagement and political education rallies, and then the one-on-one interaction with people out there, just getting the general energy of Kenyans. It makes me feel more patriotic and more connected to my roots as a citizen of this country, and that's the side of the coin that I prefer to focus on. But otherwise, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of bitterness, and over the current situation of just being a Kenyan. Online people are saying being a Kenyan is just part of 1,000 ways to die.
Ati ukidedi uoneshe Mungu nilikuwa Kenya, sema how about you, Willie?
On the contrary, I'm like, I told you people. Ruto is not to be trusted, because Zakayo, But really, I used to be very bitter because I used to be like a madman. I used to check out pieces, get arrested for nothing, literally. I've never been arrested for nothing in Nairobi, just to be clear, that one time. But if you arrest me for protesting, I would give it to you because you're a punitive regime. But you just walk and you get arrested. And I used to be very bitter because I was like, we are not seen, we are marginalized, and there was so much political hegemony with the dynasties, as Obra said. So right now I'm in a position whereby it's not a good place to be. Nothing moves me anymore because I said yesterday that poets are modern day prophets. You listen to them or perish. But it's just that the more things change, the more things remain the same. And what we used to write about in 2017, it's just replicating itself because we have the same leaders, the same problems, the same police force, and the same mentality. So where I am right now, mimi najiimpress ndo ni smile ama na smile kujiimpress. Nalamba glucose tukisonga. But I'm not bitter. But I'm very happy and I'm very hopeful because right now the mindset of the youth has been revolutionized.
Yeah.
Because initially it used to be a very like a couple of people, and it got into a point whereby people had demonized the tag activist. And right now, everyone is an activist. Right now, everyone is an active citizen, and it's a very beautiful space to be in. When the protest started, I wasn't in Kenya in June, but I had to come also. I had to be present also in Nakuru because what we had been drumming up for was right in front of our eyes. So it is a very good place to be in. Yeah. I feel amazing.
You feel amazing.
Yeah.
Me, I feel T for tired.
T for tired.
T for tired.
Lamba glucose.
There's a long way to go.
It's a very long way to go.
Yeah. And I know there's a question I asked you this before, but let me just ask you, would you ever consider politics?
Me?
No, him.
Well, this is politics. What are you asking if I'd consider politics? Yeah, this is politics, and politics is life. Rather, I would not consider politics, but I would consider leadership in all essence, because now, and for me, sometimes they say leadership is in planting trees in spaces that will grow shade where we will not take shade in. So I would, and it is very unfortunate right now at this point in life, whereby in Kenya, leadership is a reserve of politicians, and that is why people tie politics to rogue politicians and rogue individuals in the society, because we say the youth is very depoliticized. But I would consider leadership even if it's not politics, because we don't, it's not a must we have leaders who are politicians. Yeah, politics is a very dirty game. Okay. We only have, politics is dominance, because the common man, the common mwananchi has been disenfranchised, because lengo ni to keep them poor so that they can buy them cheap. And that is why people don't vote leaders looking at track record and everything else. So I would consider leadership. Willie Oeba, governor. Susan Kiika, I told you. Coming for you. You will not sleep.
Lengo ni to keep them poor so that you can buy them cheap. That's very true. Let's talk about online activism. Kuna wale ambao hawawezi fika kwenye ground physically, so they turn into online activism. So allow me to ask you, Shakira, what works, what doesn't work with online activism?
I'm not that savvy when it comes to the online space. If anything, I've become more active online from last year. But what I've learned so far, I feel like so long as there's a conversation that keeps going, it is very necessary. and especially now with social media, we need the proper message to go to as many people as possible, not just in Kenya, even outside Kenya. So even for the people who are not able to be physically present in the streets due to whatever reasons, even the people in diaspora, how they keep in touch with what is happening on the ground is through social media. Yes. And unfortunately, the government currently tries to run a lot of psyops through social media to try and counter whatever whatever narratives are, you know, developing within the space. I mean, personally, I've experienced a lot of personal attacks towards me and what I do, what I stand for. Apparently, I'm an NIS.
This is an order.
I'm in the payroll of the government, and I don't do anything without being, you know, instructed. But I'm like, I mean, a lot of, if you try and engage with these usernames that try and propagate this agenda, you'll find that you'll find that a lot of them look like bots. A lot of them look like individuals who are like trying basically to cry for attention. And I mean, there's one particular fat toad that seems hell bent on, you know, chasing after my character and I mean other people within this space. But I mean, these are individuals that you don't even see them physically qua ground, you know. And something that I keep relying and hanging on to is like time vindicates. Like who I am, I already know who I am as a person, and I do not need to explain it to anyone. How I keep showing up is important. So today I'll be enemy number one. Mimi nishaisalimiwa na nilisalimiwa proper hadi nilizima simu kwa sababu matusi yenye nilikuwa napata online. And then a few weeks later, nikasalimiwa tena on the positive side. Like people are sending me encouraging messages and sending me money as well. So it's like there's a certain balance that we need to play with when it comes to social media. And if for me personally, and I feel like for a lot of Kenyans, it's still something we are trying to learn. But social media has been has been a key factor in pushing whatever narratives that we are working with at this time.
Let me also ask you the same question I asked Willie. Would you consider leadership?
Leadership.
Women rep.
I've had a lot of people telling me that I should consider going for Women Rep Nairobi. This is something that I will take seriously and think about because, like I said earlier, I like my life quiet and peaceful, and the past 1 year has been nothing but chaotic, and I can't imagine living the rest of my life like this. But if that is what is required of me as a member of this nation, I'm willing to offer myself to service. Yes. So
that was a yes or no question.
I'm cultured. I already know how to play the game. Yes, I'm strongly considering it. I haven't made the decision, but once the decision is made, mtajua. And I feel like it, considering the current women rep that we have, it wouldn't be tough to, hiyo nikisema tu nimeingia asubuhi bila kufanya much of effort.
Alright, as we ask you the same question, whether you consider ask you about online activism and what works, what doesn't work. We've also seen you with your visual work photography. We've also seen your work spreading across socials. Even I remember there's one video that really did rounds that you did. But could you tell us online activism, what works, what doesn't work?
Listen, I'll say this, right? Whatever this boat is, wherever you're seated, whatever water is coming in, you have to. Whatever you can pick, be it a spoon, be it a freaking huge bucket, whatever you can get, pick the water and throw it out, right? Whatever role you can play, if you feel your voice. Let me give you an example. Last year, how many people did not make it to the streets, but they were sending money to funds to buy water, to buy masks? You get it. Everyone can play a role, be it behind your screen, be it in the front line in the streets, as long as you're putting your voice to use. You're talking about something. There's a very famous quote, right? It doesn't matter what you believe in, they will come for us all at some point. And when they come for you, you have to stand for something, at least. Because they will come for you in any way. Taxes, lack of services, extrajudicial killings, they will find their way to you at some point. Stand for something by then, at least. So, however way you're able to use your voice, use it. There's no greater deed, there's no smaller deed in this revolution.
The marathon.
Yeah,
So
marathon.
so long as you're not against, the people working against are definitely not doing anything to prevent the boat from sinking.
And now, to answer the question on leadership.
Y'all are stronger than I am. Now listen, I'll be honest. I always see myself as, if I was in leadership, it means I'm the person taking the questions and answering the questions. Whatever that time I'd have spent taking the questions, I'd rather be in service. I look at myself as, I'd rather be in service than in leadership. So if it was the Ministry of Arts and something like that, I'd never want to be the CS or the PS or something of that sort. I'd rather be one of the workers inside there with a very tangible, with a very sort of, with an objective, with a very straight objective. This is what I'm doing. I don't want to be in pressers giving reasons and excuses. I don't want to be fighting on TV with someone who thinks my ministry is not working. I'd rather be boots on the ground. I think it's very much a personality thing than anything else. I'd rather be boots on the ground than have the corner office.
Yeah. And the reason why I ask this question is because as the people that we are today, what kind of leader are we looking forward to? Are we looking at what characteristics are we looking for? What kind of leaders do we want now? I think let me start with you, because all of you have answered the question whether you would like to or you would want one to. So now ule mwenye ambaye tutachagua pale mbele, ni characteristics gani lazima awe nazo, ama ni mindset gani ambaye lazima awe nayo? Let me ask you.
The most dangerous thing about this period we are entering into, the best leader is going to be, or rather the best candidate is going to be a candidate who is not in government. That's going to be that's sort of the cut-off line. Before people even think about what can this person do for me or not, most people are looking at, were you in government first of all? When you're in government, were you for us or against us, right? So the bar, I feel for this one, the bar is already too low, to be honest. Right now, it's about rather than, right? But in my opinion, what I'll be looking out for is someone that I think can put their head down and look at the objective and the goal. If we're able to get to a place where we are not voting in politicians but leaders, if we get to that point, I think that would be a great point to be alive in. So personally, I'll be looking out for people I think are going to make leaders and not politicians. Yeah.
All right. The same question for you, Shakira. What kind of leaders are we looking at now?
When I go around for civic education and political engagement, the phrase that we keep repeating is fagia wote. And it's basically what Brian has said. At this point, anyone but whoever is currently in government, because the people who are currently in government, first of all, are people who have been there since, like, for more than one term, right? Very few individuals have been there just from 2022. And a lot of them have proven that even despite being given a second chance, a third chance, they're still not willing to do the right thing. They're still not willing to serve anyone. So for me, it's the same thing. Let us give new people an opportunity to for lack of a better term, disappoint us. Because craziness is repeating the same thing. We keep voting in the same people and expecting different results. So let us vote in new people. If they disappoint us, we'll say we didn't know. Not vote in the same old people and then complain when they disappoint us. But looking into the people that we want to elect, let us try and make an effort to look at their values. Right now, as a country, we need accountability. Right now, as a country, we need integrity. If the next government is going to be a government of reforming this country, it will be a lot of correcting mistakes that have already been done. We can't say that we'll be looking at track record, because we don't, as a country, we don't have a track record of going after corrupt leaders and demanding that they return what they've stolen. We don't have a track record of actually bringing to account and prosecuting people who have been involved in the killing and maiming of people. So let's just give new people a chance, and let us try and look at the values of whatever it is that they stand for. I'll give an example. If najisikia huko nje. An example of whatever young person that exists and the current politicians. Okay, let's give an example of myself in case I'm going into leadership now. Naanza kujifanyia campaign mapema. We have seen Esther Passaris. A lot of the times, she just speaks out when it's in defense of the current political class. DIG is implicated in the death of somebody, in the mysterious death of somebody in prison, who was not in prison, who was arrested. Her first response was to say, not even condolences to this family. Her first response is to say, I was with DIG. There is no way he was involved in that death. Have we seen Esther Passaris anywhere with the family trying to help them some form of justice? No, but Shakira was there. She was in the family when they went to Central Police Station to demand for answers and asking what exactly happened. She was there when the family was at City Mortuary waiting for autopsy results. And I am not an individual who has been mandated by anyone to serve. I was there out of my own will. So if you were to put these two individuals based off just one simple example, and you are told to choose, who would you give responsibility? Who are you willing to pay so that they can actually serve you? As a sane person, would you go for somebody like Passaris? No. And that's what we are saying when we are saying Fagia Wote, give people a new chance. That's what we are looking at. And then moving forward, while we continue changing the mindset of our nation, while we continue changing the values and the characters that we want to ground ourselves into, now we can start looking at merit. Now we can start looking at track record. But for now, anyone but the current political class.
Willie, do you share the same thoughts?
I would say I find myself sometimes struggling with affirmative action, and personally, what I think does anyone but like new people, and that is what Kasongo used in 2017 to propel an affirmative action between Dynasty versus Hustler, and they came in quote unquote as new people who are not from the royal oligarchs, and they've terrorized us. I've seen NIS issue a terror alert, and that is what the police have been doing for a long time, and it's hopefully the terror groups will not take over from the police. We are good with the Kenya police. So for me, I would love to believe that leaders are not made, leaders are not born. In Kenya, leaders are voted for. And unfortunately, in Kenya, democracy is the dictatorship of the majority. And for the longest time, people have been voting as a PR exercise for face value. and people have been going to rallies so that we would justify bungling elections. If you say I didn't garner 7 million votes, I would say, but look at my rallies, look at my launch. I had 60 million people in Kasarani. But I strongly feel personally that the voice of the common mwananchi, the common voter, has never been amplified at the ballot. And this is courtesy to the people who think that politics is a reserve for certain people, and people who think that politics is too dirty for me to participate in as a member of parliament, as an MCA, or as a president. So what I am looking at leaders, either in this regime or new people or people from everywhere else, who resonate with the people. A leader should have a sense of resonance. And if you resonate with my struggles, then you can lead the way. So the leader is not a savior. A leader, we are supposed to think together. A leader is one who is supposed to give a guideline and give the way first among equals. We're supposed to lead together. One thing I struggled with, I didn't get to answer that online, is also I really love that people have come together for the clamor of change, and that force also can be a very huge distraction, because sometimes people don't take time to move back and think. Today they will cancel you for anything, and then tomorrow they will be with you. So we've lost also very legitimate, good people who have not been very resilient in the Gen Z movement, because you get cancelled today for absolutely nothing, and then you just fall off. So also, as we keep on going, I would really love to see the leadership among the movement, quote unquote. There is no particular movement and structure, and while pushing online, because today you'll wake up online and there's a whole drama presented. Willie Oeba has been contracted by the NIS for the past 12 years. One madman said that. For the past 12 years.
Number 6 will shock you.
For the past 12 years, the NIS has been preparing this guy with spoken words to pacify the message in 2025. I'm like, you have to be dumb to believe this. But you go to the comment section, and some people are like, yeah, this guy, yes, I see him. Someone has called him off finally. But that is just an example of how we can use, like, without thinking through, so we are always action, street. It's also good if we stop agonizing and start organizing. So if they say Shakira is an NIS agent, just go dig. Let us not be impulsive. Impulsive. And what works online for me, the youth, the unemployed youth na gava zote ni same, haiwork. na CS wa anaitwa nani huyu PM, Prime Cabinet Secretary, pia yeye hawaka, hana job description.
Hana JD.
My question, am I allowed to ask a question? Who in the current governments can you say that they are actually working and doing their job?
I mean, there are so many people in the current government and who are working, as Obra said. It's not about the Murkomens who come to the interviews and all that. We have very good people down in the grassroots level. We have
I'm asking about elected leaders.
We have here and there we have elected leaders who are working, but overall the current regime as is constituted with Ruto on top and the yes man, the illegitimate deputy president, all of these people just need to go home because they're not serving in the interest of the people. So what I struggle with for me is affirmative action. I struggle with affirmative action because it makes the people who deserve and people who fought for certain things to be shoved aside, and they are qualified and they have to be there, but because we said this is a reserve for new people, and then we lose very good people. Also, we need to understand that the Gen Z struggle is not an intergenerational fight like the current regime tried to make it. You old people stay at home, we will fight for you. So it comes to that level of entitlement. If you ask old people to stay at home, then we will stay at home and see what you can do. But the Gen Z revolution, it's a force, it's a spirit. Everyone is here, everyone is included, but the revolution is happening at such a time where we are relatively young. So for me, I wouldn't point a classic politician who is working right now, because even the young people who we took to parliament, the Jalango disappointment, KJ disappointment. Those people need to be hung. but yeah. So if we find leaders who resonate with the people, because they lied to us in 2022, they lied to us that we are young. In 2013, they lied to us. We elected 2 ICC inductees, 2 of them, for the past 15 years, because they lied to us. They are new people. They are coming with new blood. They came with very shitty ideologies of digital and analog. If that's not enough, they came with hustlers and dynasty, and we still voted for them. So right now, the young people need to understand that they need to participate, and they need to get leaders who resonate with the interests of the people, because leaders, after they resonate, they just give guidelines, and then we have people who work in the sidelines, the actual people who put boots on ground.
I can say a few comments are coming in. Marata anasema tuko present. Thank you very much for tuning in. Sozi anasema pia tuko ndani. Anasema audio iko chini kidogo. My producer atatusaidia hapo. Miriam Mwende anasema just wondering what gives the panel hope for change. Watching vitu zina happen na kuona zinaendelea ku happen is so sad. What gives you guys hope? Is what Miriam Mwende wants to know. Let's start with you. As we close the conversation, also because of time, 2 things. What gives you hope? And finally, what would you like to tell Kenyans? The Kenyans who are feeling exhausted, who are feeling tired, they're feeling bitter as well. And what is your message for Kenyans tomorrow?
Heavy.
Hey, that's a lot. That's a lot. One, what gives me hope? Everyone does. And I think for me it came as a moment of realization. This was last year, especially that 25th. When I looked at the numbers on that street, and not just because it could be numbers, but 75% hooligans, right? But we're talking about, I could see people who, whatever placard they're holding, they actually believe what they're saying. This is not something that's been passed in WhatsApp groups, then these are people who showed up because they firmly believe in what they're saying, right? So the fact that we have numbers that practically believe in the need to push for change, I don't think I need any further evidence. Yes, there's stumbling blocks. We have the stumbling block, which is the biggest, the power of governance. But the fact that this fire is already lit in people's hearts, in people's minds, in people's beings, I think that in itself gives me the hope that somewhere along the line, something will have to give. And when it gives, I hope the justification will be there for the lives lost, the damage, the injuries, time spent away from doing things we would have been ideally doing.
Right.
I hope the justification comes in. What was the?
The other one was for Kenyans who are feeling tired, who are feeling exhausted. What would you like to tell them? And then finally, message for people tomorrow. Basi tuambie mambo ya kesho basi kesho.
For the first one about.
Will it be tomorrow?
Unauliza jibu.
For people who are tired, bro, lamba glucose to songe. Lamba glucose. This thing will not be ended by us throwing hands and saying, we tried. Nah. The quote, when you're most in pain, when you're suffering the most, that's the worst time to give up. Don't quit at that point. Push forward, see through, reward yourself from it. Because you're already in pain, right? You've already been hurt, you've already lost something. So don't walk away from that fight empty-handed. See it all the way and reward yourself from your pain, right? Tomorrow, I'll say this. For me, the biggest priority tomorrow is paying respect to what happened last year. That to me before anything else.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm even unwilling to call it a protest. I'm calling it a march or a gathering, right? Because the top agenda is to pay respect for lives lost, for whatever happened last year.
Yeah.
And to me, I'd say I hope everyone looks at it that way. Ile itafuata tutasonga nayo, but my mind is stuck on, first of all, until I pay my respects, I won't feel the success of the day up until that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And stay safe.
Stay safe.
Key.
Shakira, hope.
Walisema usiseme stay safe. Ukisema stay safe, hiyo ni NIS propaganda ya mongo. So do not tell people to stay safe. Toka kumudu.
Yeah, I have not been paid. Those who are paying people, tafadhali simu yangu iko open. Haya, mtajipata huko kwa.
No worries.
For me as well, tomorrow is about cementing June 25th as a key moment in the history of our country, and in paying respect or in remembrance of the young men and women who lost their lives last year. And unfortunately, 1 year down the line, no form of justice has taken place. So it's a reminder to the current political regime, because we'll be escorting the families of these victims to Parliament to deliver a petition invoking through the Speaker of the House a judicial process that is going to be expedited and, demand for compensation, justice, and some form of relief to these families. The petition is going to be delivered to the Parliament as well as the office of the President. So mine is to call on all Kenyans to, show up in solidarity with all these young people, because given the numbers of people that showed up in the streets last year, those 67 plus could have been any of us, but we were spared. So what can we do in honor of this life that we don't necessarily deserve more than any other person, but we happen to be here, which is going to lead me to my conclusion of where I get the hope from. There's this saying by Stephen Hawking. He's a physicist, but he happened to have this neurological disorder, and he spent most of his time wheelchair bound. Literally, the only thing he could do was communicate through some whatever scientific means they were able to come up with, and it was through a computer. And he used to say, where there is life, there is hope. So for as long as I am alive, I am hopeful that things will change. And unless I'm not here to see it, I will do what I can for the time that I'm here.
Yeah. All right, so Willie?
Yeah, kamera yangu ni gani hii? What's up, beautiful people? Ruto has come to kill, steal, and to deceive. But that is not the end of life. The good thing is, people are very hopeful. We are not where we used to be, but we have to respect the fact that we are not where we want to be, but we have to respect the fact that we are not where we used to be. We are here and we must be seen, and tomorrow we'll be out in the streets. I will keep on doing what I do as an artist, and what keeps me hopeful is that the young people are very hopeful now because our best days are ahead of us. And when you see how the young people are jobless, unemployed, but tribeless, and they are outside every time, and they don't let anything slide, I am very hopeful that we will win. Either way, we will win. So as Tony Kate Bambara said, the role of the art is to make the resistance irresistible. I'll keep on using poetry for the revolution of the mindset, just keeping the hope alive, because what I say, what I do through spoken word is nothing new. You know all of these things. And that is why sometimes they have like humor, because they hit you because you know them, but my work is to keep the hope alive. Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the very end of our conversation. This has been Pulse Let's Talk with Willie Oeba, Shakira Wafula, and Brian Obra, myself, Modoni Rongo. Tomorrow there will be protests, and there will be not only be a remembrance of those killed last year, but we'll also see Kenyans and activists demand justice and push to hold the country's leadership in account. Activists have urged Kenyans to take to the streets in large numbers in peaceful protests to commemorate those killed on June 25th, 2024, and the months that followed, including victims of police brutality. We are yet to see what will happen tomorrow, but to everybody who will be out there, stay safe.
Siko huko. Stay safe all the time. Yeah, but that message should be channeled to the police, because we always stay safe. It's the police who met violence. Yeah, we are very peaceful. Obra in the sidelines told us you can give us that.
Oh yeah,
he lost his. You never lost anything.
Nah. Almost left my leg there. Yeah. Almost left my leg in.
But he was taken to the hospital.
Yeah, it's crazy. And when we were talking before, I was saying how the protesters are some of the most loving human beings I've ever met, right? Because what happened, at no fault of anyone, I was not attacked by goons, I was not attacked by the police, I was not attacked by peaceful protesters. When police were chasing the protesters, they pushed me to a place where there's a fence outside the Naivas, a fence that had sort of arrowhead sort of, the spikes. So one of the spikes, because I was pushed over, one of the spikes went into the leg, so I was just dangling from that fence, right? So when the tear gas had slightly died down in that commotion, the people came and pulled me out of it. Someone took the camera, someone took the bag I was holding, and these are not people I know, right? The only person I knew was someone like Komu, one of the photographers who's been very heavy with this protest. So these are people, faces I do not know, people I'll never know their names, I'll never meet in my life, but they're the ones who took me, carried me, put me in the border, rushed me to the medics. Hakuna boda kuuliza, by the way bro, hapo ilikuwa mia. There was nothing like that. The medics, they do not care where are you from, which side are you a police, are you what? Treated me, stood me up, give me painkillers. Are you okay? Are you looking good? You see, no one is fighting the other. Everyone is fighting for a common goal. And justice, human rights. And they nothing was stolen. Everything, nothing. I did not lose a shoe, I did not lose a sock, I did not lose a lens or anything. Everything was handed back to me. No one was there to steal, apart from the goons who were brought by someone.
So that's a story of hope.
That's a story of hope, yeah. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, till another time, that has been a conversation on Pulse Let's Talk, a conversation where we have conversations that matter to you and conversations that matter to us. And with that said, have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Adios.
Bye-bye.
Tomorrow. Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, 25th.